You know I'm right. Live right here on the You Know I'm Right podcast channel. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese. And Joe, we are back here once again. And today is, of course, the All-Star Game in Major League Baseball. The game's taking place in Seattle. Seattle, of course, well known for their fresh fish, sushi. Are you a sushi guy, Joe?
Yeah.
You are a sushi.
I like California rolls and stuff.
All right, and I never really got into it with the sushi. Not a huge fan of the sushi. If I'm going to a Japanese restaurant, I'm definitely get fried rice. I'm gonna try to make that my main meal. But the hibachi
Sushi is good.
stuff.
You just gotta be, a seafood person. You have to acquire a taste for it.
All right, fair enough. Should give a shout out to our softball team, the Almighty Ducks. They're going to be in the semifinals this Sunday. Hopefully, you get to bring home a championship. We'll see how that plays out. But we'll start here on the All-Star Game and Home Run Derby. So the Home Run Derby last night happens. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. wins it. I don't understand how they came up with the seeding for this tournament. It didn't make any sense. The Vladimir Guerrero side of the bracket with Julio Rodriguez and Pete Alonso was stacked. The other side of the bracket, where Randy Arozarena came out of it with Luis Robert, it was very weak. It was easy to come out of there. I don't know how Alonso wasn't the one seed in this one. He's won it twice, and he had the most home runs of anybody.
He was the 2 seed.
He was the 2 seed. And 2 weeks in a row here now, Joe, we're talking about 1 and 2 seeds, where Novak Djokovic was the number 2 seed in Wimbledon. I don't get it. I mean, that one side of the bracket was so weak. You would think you want to stack it so you have some star power in the championship. What do you think about the home run derby last night?
Yeah, I thought it was odd that the first round was Alonso and Julio, considering that Mets fans enjoy the event because Alonso's dominated the last couple of years. Julio was the hometown favorite, obviously. The best of the first round matchups, like the head-to-head matchups, was Luis Robert and Adley Rutschman. So that was pretty good. Arozarena, like I mentioned last week, I knew he was going to get up for this event because he likes being in the spotlight. We saw that, and I mentioned the World Baseball Classic specifically because he was a star in the event. So I think anytime they have the opportunity, those Rays players, because of the market that they play in, if they're on a bigger stage, they like to take advantage of it. So even though he didn't win, I knew Arozarena was going to show out. But shout out to Vlad Jr. I have no problem with Vlad Jr. because Vladimir Guerrero was one of my favorite players when I was younger to watch. I had his jersey when he was on the Angels, won the MVP back in 2005. As alluded to last night, Vlad won the Derby in 2007, I believe it was. So his son, they became the first father-son tandem to win the Home Run Derby, with his son winning in 2023. So I thought that was pretty cool. The event.
How about the fact that after Vlad wins, they put on a graphic on the screen that says
I saw that.
The second Cuban-born player since that's first of all, he's
born in Canada.
He's born in Canada, and also he's not Cuban at all. He's Dominican.
Correct. Yeah. So that's just more or less somebody at ESPN who got a mouthful either last night or this morning. That was as incorrect as you're gonna get. And but yeah, Vlad Jr. was born in Canada. I believe he was born in Montreal when his dad played there with the Expos before they moved to Washington. Big shout out to him, Canada. Big shout out to our friend Adnan Verk, who is in Seattle enjoying the festivities.
I gotta call it Adnan here because he tweeted I'm taking Julio Rodriguez over Alonso in an upset. A huge upset. That wasn't
an upset.
That wasn't at all. I felt like the cards were stacked against Alonso going into that round.
No, I agree. They put him on the wrong side of the bracket. It would have made more sense if he was on the other side. I think if you would have switched him with somebody else.
Even if he's on that side, you can't have Guerrero Rodriguez and Alonso on the same side of the bracket, who've been the 3 stars of the home run
Right.
derby the last 4 years. You got to
Right.
move one of them to the other side, so you have that as the finals.
Yeah, I mean, if Alonso was the 1 seed, it would have been him and
Him and Vlad in the
Rushman.
finals.
Right. Yeah, you would have had to move somebody else. I think you could have
Here's
moved
the
like
thing.
Ray
Here's
or
the thing.
Rushman, but
You know, Alonso's pitcher Myers was lights out. I mean, this guy was pounding the outside of the strike zone. Alonso had to go opposite field, which was tough. I don't know, by what was going on there, but it looked like the pitchers were throwing very close BP. I don't know. I don't remember, seeing that in the past. I'm so close in BP, but I don't know. The kind of
the
impact.
key to the Derby. Key to the Derby is having the right pitcher do it.
It's all about the pitcher, that's for sure. So moving on to this evening, the MLB All-Star Game. Who do you like for MVP?
That's a good question. I mean, I haven't really thought about it. I think the American League is going to win again, obviously, because
And
that's all they
straight.
do is they win the American League. So if I believe the American League is going to win, then I have to believe somebody in the starting lineup, like an Ohtani and a Rosarena, Seager. They have half the lineup is Texas Rangers, which is crazy to me. But if I'm going to go with somebody in particular, I'm going to go with Corey Seager.
So looking at the lineups here on both sides, very weak, lacking star power. And I think that's because of all the Rangers and Braves in there. The stars in there, a lot of stars on the bench. My MVP, I'm going to go with Ohtani. I think he's probably going to hit a home run. And if he pitches a scoreless inning, how's that going to be topped? I agree. Garrett Cole on the mound, though, he could get rocked in the first inning. We've seen it before in big games.
I was going to say, fun fact, the 2 starters in this game are Garrett Cole and Zach Gallen. And the last time that the All-Star Game was in Seattle was 2001. Yep. Coincidentally, it was Roger Clemens and Randy Johnson. So it was a Yankees pitcher and a Diamondbacks pitcher who started that game. So 22 years later, when the game returned to Seattle, and that city is so beautiful. We know a lot of people who work in the business.
Have you been to Seattle, Joe?
No, that's the next cities that I would like to target on my list are the major cities in Texas. So I would like to go to Dallas if possible. I would like to go to Austin, Texas, because I hear good things about Austin. Denver, I always hear beautiful things about. Denver is kind of cool because it's like a college, not a college city, but it's got like a college atmosphere to a major city. And Seattle is beautiful because of the scenery, the history there, the music history there, and everything. And again, we know a lot of people who work in media, right? So shout out to my friend Keith, McPherson, who was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. He was hooked up pretty well. And you look at his Instagram stories for the last couple of days. I mean, he was nonstop partying. He had some great visuals from T-Mobile of downtown Seattle, looking towards the Space Needle. And the after parties last night were a lot of fun. Apparently, Nelly made a surprise appearance. So seems like they're having the time of their life there. But yeah, Seattle just seems like a beautiful city.
Shout out to our guy, Kenny Mayne, who
great
things there. Former right guest. You mentioned Adnan before. Lauren Gardner's out there working, of course. Carol Rogowski's there for Fanatics, other former right guests.
Love that. Love Adnan and Scott getting back together.
Pretty much, if you want to be working the All-Star Game, you need to come on Right podcast. Sure. So it's only a matter of time before we're working the podcast and playing in the celebrity softball game.
I can't wait till we play in the celebrity softball game. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
That was confused. I watched the game, and they announced The Miz, and he wasn't there. What happened? He had to prepare for his Tommaso Ciampa match. He just wasn't there. They didn't even give him an explanation. I don't know.
Was it the game recorded? Wasn't it played Sunday?
Saturday.
Sunday night? Oh, Saturday. Okay. Yeah. Maybe, who knows? They maybe had previous obligations. I don't know about that. But yeah, I know it was a little weird because he loves getting up for this event. He always dominates this event.
MVP.
Yeah, former MVP of the game. One of the most consistent performers in MLB celebrity softball game history. So yeah, kind of odd that didn't materialize. Maybe he had, again, other obligations to attend to. We don't know that.
All right. Well, we'll see if anything comes out of that. But The Miz picked up his first win of the year on Monday Night Raw last night.
Hell yeah.
July 11th. So it's July 11th, Joe. So do you know what that
7-Eleven day.
7-Eleven day.
Gotta get those free Slurpees.
Get the free Slurpee. We know our buddy Joe Foreman is probably getting his free Slurpee. Will you be going to get a free Slurpee today?
I don't think so. The nearest 7-Eleven is like kind of out of the way from where I have to go later on.
You
So.
got to go to Page, or you got to go to all the way down Highland.
Right.
So not really convenient locations, but happy 7-Eleven day, everybody.
7-Eleven day.
Go get your free Slurpee. Last week, July 4th, the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest, Joe, and this was almost rained out and canceled. You had the inside information. You said it was going to happen.
I knew it was going to happen. I told you at, what was it, 10 after 1, quarter after 1. So they canceled it, right? They sent all the information about a half hour prior to that, around 12:30, 20 to 1. And a half hour later, I came to you and I said that I had sources in there who work for the NYPD who said that they were in the process of getting this thing back up and running. And then all of a sudden we see Joey Chestnut coming out, heroic fashion, the game face that he had on. He would not let this thing not happen. And sure enough, within a 45 minutes or so, they got it back on. I think the event started, right after 2 o'clock. So, so it wasn't really that long of a delay. It was kind of maybe like an hour and a half delay for like the rain from when the event was supposed to start at 2 hours, whatever it was. But yeah, the event was on, and I told you I had my sources. I knew.
Earlier that day, I was on the Moose and Keith show. Former right guests Keith Arizari and Mark Lewis. I said you got to take the under here, and of course the under was there. Chestnut was 33.5 hot dogs, way under, only hit 60. So the question, Joe, is Chestnut on a decline here, or did that 2-hour delay really impact him?
I think it was. I honestly think it was the delay. I think that delay does matter because there's a certain prep, right, for people who do eating competitions, right? There's a certain routine that you have to follow to prepare yourself, and you prepare to eat in the morning, and then that slight delay. Now, we don't know. I don't know. I didn't read any interviews or watch any interviews of him or anything that he did right after the event. So who knows if he maybe had like a drink of water in between, or just maybe had something like small just to hold him over, just to keep. So who knows? But I do think that delay kind of mattered ultimately because he's so good and he always beats the next guy by about 15 to 20 dogs anyway. It never really matters. So I wouldn't say it's a decline. We have to see how this year goes.
Last year, Joe, was a decline. He dropped into the mid-60s.
Right. He went from, 70-something to 65 or so?
I would say it's a combination, but I would say it's not that much of the decline where he's dropping down to 60.
Right.
I would say the delay impact that, but I think, I don't see him topping out in the 70s ever again.
No, I
don't know how many years he's got left of this.
Father time waits for nobody.
Right. Look at Max Scherzer.
But I mean, he's a 16-time world champion, right? Woo! He's gonna get title 17.
Going to beat John Cena and Ric Flair.
Yep.
And then Charlotte will destroy all three of them in the record books.
Correct.
So great! It was great to see it happen. How was your birthday, Joe? You
a lot of fun.
Pizza.
Good pizza.
How was the Carvel cake? And how was your special guest who came to your house at the end of the night?
Our friend Jordan stopped by later on in the day. He gave me a nice little hello because he was in the neighborhood, not very far from where I am over here. But yeah, I had a great time. Our neighbors across the street are super nice people. They have I forgot the brand name, but they have the professional pizza oven outside on the side of their house. So when they make pizzas, they do it professionally. They got the doughs. Where'd they get the doughs from? I forgot where they got the doughs from. I think it was Top Tomato. But there are a couple places on Staten Island you could get it. Like I got my pizza dough sometimes at Pistos's over here. A couple of other bakeries you could get the doughs. He gets the sauce, the actual legitimate pizza sauces in the big aluminum cans directly shipped. His friend knows a person who works out in Italy, so they do the mass shipment. So he gets the sauce directly from Italy, and he had the mozzarella all cut up and the seasonings and what have you. So he surprised us with a pizza later on in the day, which was really, really nice. And again, because you have the oven, you get to do it properly, which I appreciate.
So it sounds like we're going to a pizza party on July 22nd. which will be an anniversary of sorts for me and my wife. That's the day I proposed to my wife back in the day. So what better way than to celebrate with some pizza? And our logistics associate, Nino, no nonsense Nino, is throwing the party. And it's really going to be going down, Joe, because you're going to be making your famous vodka pie, and he's going to make his regular pie, and it'll be up for the grabbing here for the masses to determine who has the best pizza.
Yeah, we make a good vodka sauce in this house. We went to Danino's in Jersey a couple of weeks ago because the original's from Staten Island, but they expanded. And the place was very, very good. The pizzas there were very, very good, exceptional. And they make a pretty good vodka pie too, but I'm biased. My mom and I, being together, we make a really good vodka sauce. We tweak a couple of things a little different than what you normally see from a place if you get it out. But you know, it's going to be a competition once we do that.
Could you ever see yourself opening up a pizzeria?
I would love to.
Well, maybe
someday, maybe 10, 15 years down the line.
You won Powerball, Joe, which is now $450 million.
Talking about Powerball.
I mean, think about this. If you won Powerball, open your pizzeria. You don't got to worry about being a sucker for the working man anymore.
Nope.
And, you know, maybe some brand new uniforms for the Almighty Ducks. But
we got professional uniforms like the button downs. That'd be nice.
Right. So, and the big Powerball drawing lining up with Amazon Prime Day today. So give me here, Joe. Like if you won Powerball, what would be on your wish list? What would you do immediately? What would be the first few purchases you make?
First of all, you got to pay down all the debts. So the college loans get paid off and everything. Any type of bills you have get paid off. So that's what I would start. And then we would allocate some money just to put on the side, set aside, invest a little, hopefully it compounds. From there, I would like to, I like where I am, you know, in Jersey City and where we are now. Hopefully be able to migrate somewhere a little bit different. It would be nice if my grandmother, because we have a 3-level townhome here. So I tell her, you just sell the place, downsize, get something that's 1 level, that's a little bit cheaper. It's easier for you. It's easier for everybody.
A ranch house.
Right. A little rent. That'd be perfect for them. But yeah, a lot of it would be setting aside money to invest in what we're doing here, right? Because we want to redistribute and reinvest money into ourselves. So do merchandise, reallocate money for trips again, because I personally love traveling. I want to go back to Nashville. I want to go back to Miami. I want to go back to Las Vegas. But again, I want to hit all these places that I mentioned earlier. I want to hit the major cities in Texas. I want to go to places like Denver and Seattle and maybe do a Chicago trip. That'd be nice. So again, schedule trips, hopefully grow the brand, redirect that money into the brand, and hopefully be able to pay for and help, you know, with you sponsor events that we could do, right? Live events, get guest speakers and stuff like that. Work with sponsors and stuff and do our own, you know, promotional events in certain places. You know, that's something that I've always thought about doing. Obviously have my own car because my mom and I have been sharing a car for a couple of years, and because of all her health issues, right? You know, I've been the one primarily moving around and doing all the errands for her and going from place to place. So hopefully soon, within the next year or so, once she starts getting on her feet and being able to drive again, then I get on my own set of wheels again, and then I could take myself anywhere I want to go.
So where would your headquarters be? You're staying in the Northeast, New York, New Jersey? Because I know if you won, you're not going to get a mansion, but you're getting a place in Miami, right? You're going to a place.
You know me so well.
You're a place in Las Vegas, which is
well. I think,
and you're going to have a place in LA.
I think the corporate headquarters would be the right place in Miami first, because
corporate
I love the corporate headquarters would be in Miami.
There's a no state income tax.
No state income. That's correct. You know me very, very well. And my family would be a little bit upset because I'd be on the other side of the state. They would be like, "Why are you going there? Come to Tampa." I like Miami. If we're gonna set up corporate shop,
South Beach like Joey Cows in December.
Taking my talents to South Beach. It worked for LeBron. It'll work for me.
So you're gonna be set up and you're gonna be there. And you're gonna have the West Coast offices, right? Las Vegas
Absolutely.
and Los Angeles.
I don't know if I would want to be based out of LA. Number 2 would be Vegas. I love
All
it
right, so
there.
you're
I
gonna
do.
be very close enough to Los Angeles. You got a bunch of friends there. You can always stay with Mike Marino
Mhm.
if you had to, make the quick trip from Vegas. So Vegas and Florida are going to be your spot. I'll head up the headquarters here in New York for now. If I
Right.
won, I would definitely buy myself a nice house, huge house, and I'm going to get some smaller properties in some warmer weather climates that I could jump onto whenever I feel like it. And
I'll help you take care of them.
yeah, and the podcast will reinvest in ourselves because one day, Joe, I'm right media is going to take over. So, like you said, in front of the win in Las Vegas, and the win in Las Vegas in front of Blue Wire, you're either with us or you're against us. So you better be with us now, because we'll remember we had the list, right, Joe? You don't want to be on the list.
No, absolutely not.
All right. So Amazon Prime Day, then, of course. I think this is just like a huge marketing ploy scam, because if you have Amazon Prime, like, what is the benefits of Amazon Prime Day? I'm not sure. So you order anything at Amazon Prime Day?
Did you see my cousin's tweet before?
I did not.
Mikey T also thinks it's a scam. Shout out to Mikey. He's not wrong. What they do is apparently they hike the prices up first and then they give you the sale. So they're making the same amount of money. So you're right. It's all a scam. Everything's a scam.
Bezos is evil.
He's another pencil neck Bond villain.
The
Actually, he's not pencil necked anymore. He actually looks pretty good. He looks pretty.
Former Mrs. Bezos, though. Hit up Joe. Slide into his DMs.
Mackenzie Bezos. She's worth how much? How many billions? Like 40 billion that she got in the divorce.
That'd be better for you than winning Powerball.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, because after Powerball, what is it for? You said 450 million.
It's 750, so it's
750. But after taxes, you're gonna get what? 150 million,
yeah,
200 million? Yeah. It's not worth it.
You should go play, though. You should go play.
Going back to a conversation we had, the fight is not Musk versus Zuckerberg. The fight is actually Bezos versus Zuckerberg.
Okay.
That's what I would want to see, because Bezos he looks pretty good. He looks pretty in shape from pictures that you always see with him and his new girlfriend. Her name escapes my mind, but he looks very, very fit. I think you train him up a little bit, put him in the cage with Zuckerberg. I think that would be a much more fair fight.
Well, what do you think about Zuckerberg here? He's going on the attack. He launches Threads. I got on there. It's chaos. It makes no sense.
Makes no sense. I don't have one. I don't have a TikTok. I don't have a Threads.
I had to get on there. I'm right. Had to get Threads account.
Oh, yeah, the I'm right presence is okay. For me individually, I don't care, because I'm not gonna. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna go through 10 different social media platforms. It's ridiculous.
It's just like it's a sloppy looking Twitter.
Right.
It doesn't make it's not. There's no chronological order. It's not. You just see everything. You don't see just who you followed. The replies don't make any sense. I did reply. My first reply was to Shannon Ferry, a former right guest. She asked who's going to be the first influencer on Threads, and I said I'm right podcast, of course.
Of course.
So I don't know. This is just Musk must be boiling over this.
Here's the biggest issue with it. This is not the first time that this argument is being made. This argument has been made elsewhere. Other major podcast hosts and people who work in media have made this argument. The biggest problem with this is Zuckerberg controls Facebook and Meta, and he controls Instagram as well, correct? Yeah, so Threads is now a direct competitor with the platform of Twitter, right? So if you're looking at this from a monopoly perspective, Zuckerberg basically wants a monopoly of all over social media, right? That's like how these corporate companies buy out these lesser media companies and put them under the same umbrella, and they own all these networks and these other media. A huge conglomeration. It doesn't work for everybody, right? So at least if Elon has Twitter, you may not like Twitter. You may not like the fact that you paid for the check, which I never did. Why do I got to pay? It makes no sense, right? But at least you could take solace in the fact that Musk has Twitter and Zuckerberg has that in the Facebook and Instagram, correct? So if Threads takes off, and apparently would they have 100 million unique subscribers at first? I don't know about that.
Yeah,
That
because
seems
everything is
a little
linked to the
BS, but
all you got to do is press a button. You never have to sign up.
right. Yeah, because
I don't
it's
know.
attached. It's connected and directly
I think
attached to your
Zuckerberg
Instagram.
launched this like too quick. Like it wasn't ready yet, and
Right.
it just launched it. So we'll see what happens here with these billionaires battling it out. You know,
One day we're going to be billionaires and we're going to be battling it out with them.
we're Twitter guys. I'm not a Threads guy. I like Twitter. It makes sense.
You know I'm right is okay on Threads. I have no TikTok, I have no Threads, and I have no plan on creating one anytime soon.
Big on Snapchat. At least
Snapchat. You know why I like Snapchat?
Zuckerberg tried to do Snapchat with the stories and stuff.
Snapchat is it's like you're sending an image text. You know what I mean? And the thing is, Snapchat is easy because you don't want to individually text 100 different people. But what a snap is good for is if you send an image, it kind of keeps you up to date with maybe friends that you don't see or that don't live where you live, right? But it kind of keeps the connection going. Like I have friends who I see every now and then, maybe if I go out somewhere, or maybe I went to a Rangers game, every now and then I'll run into somebody who, I've only hung out with maybe once or twice in my life, but I get to see them at the game. Those are the kind of people that I include in snaps, and that's how you stay friends. So I think there's a lot of utility in that. I just don't think there's any utility in signing up for these 100 different mind-washing social media apps that take up all your time.
You're doing some Snapchatting recently. You went to the Yankee game.
Mm-hmm.
Got to see them lose again in person. What's your record this season? I feel like they haven't won when you're there.
I'm only 1-2. I've only been to 3 games.
All right, so they won the one game when you went opening day, right?
Opening day, and that was that. I've only been to 2 other games. I went to the game against the Blue Jays, where Jordan and I saw Adnan on the train there, which was really, really exciting. And
Harrison Bader threw the ball to you guys, right? No, IKF.
IKF was in center. He threw the ball to us. And then I went Friday night, and Gleyber Torres got a hit in the first inning, and that was that. It was that, literally. It was one of the most boring games I've ever been to. But again, they're not all going to be fun. You go to wins, you go to losses.
I'm on strike with the Mets.
Of course.
I said I wasn't going.
I don't blame you. They stink.
I said this in October.
You did.
Oh, I'm right.
They got one hit in October, too.
Brutal. All right. Moving on here, Joe. The Barbie movie. A lot of buzz.
A lot of buzz.
Amy Schumer coming out saying she was supposed to be Barbie, and she's not being anymore because it was not feminist enough or something along those lines from the interview I saw. Now I know you don't like the blondes, but your thoughts on Margot Robbie as Barbie?
Perfect choice. Perfect cast. They got it right. They absolutely nailed it. We got to see, as WWE fans, we got to see Scarlett Boudreaux and Liv Morgan were at the premiere a couple nights ago.
Liv looked like she should have been in the movie.
Liv should have been in the movie. She looked like she was an extra. She looked awesome. But yeah, Margot Robbie, perfect choice. They nailed it. You saw pictures or videos of her online on the carpet. She was glowing and she was shining, and she looks like Barbie. You got to get it right.
Good choice for Ken.
Absolutely. The thing about the Barbie movie is, it's going to be cringe, but what you hope for is that it's entertaining cringe. You don't want to go to cringe and you watch the movie and 20 minutes in you feel like, oh God, I'm wasting my time. At least if it's funny a little bit, but this is the kind of movie, I'm not going to see this movie in theaters. But if I hear enough good things about it from people that actually saw it, maybe months from now when it's on TV or if at HBO for the first time, I'll catch it then.
Fair enough. All right. So with this movie, Joe, John Cena's in it, right?
He had dinner with her, Margot Robbie. What was it, in the UK? A couple weeks ago. That was crazy. He always seems to be running into her.
Well, it worked out. She said, "You want to come do the movie?" He was like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Let's do it.
That's the type of guy John Cena is.
We need somebody like that. Cena needs to help us out.
Cena, you want to come on with us? I'm sure he would if we could get in contact with him. Mm-hmm. But there might be a way that you can get in contact with him at some point, because there are rumors out there, Joe, that CBS is looking to cast you for Big Brother season 25. You've been saying no for the past few years here. You can't confirm or deny anything, but we think all of your fans and me, of course,
My fans.
we think you'd be great in the show because number one, you could talk everybody in circles. Everyone's head's going to be spinning because you have that gift to gab, or you could just go and go and go and go, and you could fool them. What's going to be true, what's going to be not. I think you do okay in some of the competitions for sure, especially more so the mental ones. And you're just a very likable guy. I don't know anyone. No one's going to vote you out. And the big upside to this, Joe, is you come out of this and you're a made man. You're going to get the endorsements. My podcast is going to go up and beyond even more. So you might win. Could have $500,000. You definitely win America's Favorite House Guest at $50,000. But you're going to be getting all this stuff afterwards, and you're going to be a star. You're going to be a made man. But what do you think, Joe? Do you think we'll ever see you audition for Big Brother? Because I honestly think the producers would love you in the audition process because they love Staten Island guys.
They do.
So there you go.
They love Staten Islanders in general. There's a certain characteristic about us that's screw it. We're different than the other boroughs. That's for sure. Never say never. Expect the unexpected. Who knows? Here's what I will say. I would have liked to have been on the show maybe in my mid to late 20s, right? Because it seems like have a little more fun when you're a little bit younger. If the opportunity was ever presented to me, if I was ever brought into alignment with that path, and I was able to audition for it, and people kind of vouched for me and pushed for me a little bit, and I got through the audition process, and they liked me, and I eventually would end up being cast on the show, I would go on. I would. So we'll see. Again, it's like never say never. I agree with that. I'm already a star. I think America would love me.
Yep.
I would have a certain strategy.
Could you imagine the Instagram stories from your mom, the Facebook comments from your aunt, if you were on Big Brother?
They wouldn't stop.
I
think I would have a contingent being like my fan club following me, supporting me week to week. Because a lot of these people who go on the shows, like their family and their friends support them, but it's like they don't really have huge contingents. That usually comes after they come on the show. I think I would have a growing following while I was doing the audition process and in the early stages of being on the show, and depending how long I got. But yeah, I again, never say never.
What would your strategy be in the house? Because if I was on the show, I think everyone would hate me and they want to get me out right away. I just think people. I'm not a very likable guy. I could be Nasty Nick when I want to be. I might do well in the first competition, and they'd say, "Let's get this guy out of here." And if I was on the show, I'd be going on for the clout. I don't think I'd be winning, and I would want to get eliminated as the last juror before the jury house. I want to go home.
You wouldn't want to reach the jury house?
No, I don't want to sit in the jury house and be there to the end of the show and not play. I want to go home. I want to start immediately going.
The jury house is like a pseudo extended vacation. I want to
immediately, like our guy Pooch, start doing podcasts and cashing in. I can go in entertainment tonight, talk about the people that are still in the house. I want to be cashing in. I'm going on there for the clout. There's no point.
Some super fan you are.
What's the point of being in the jury house? You're not going to win.
I'm a super fan.
Everyone has been on with us from the last 2 seasons has said the jury house is awful. I don't see what the point. If you're going on the show,
you're playing to win.
If you're not going to win,
and if you reach the final 5 or 4 and you have to be put in the jury house, so be it.
If you're not going to win, you might as well go home before the jury house. That's my opinion.
To each his own. Some super fan you are, huh?
I'm not a super fan. I'm telling you, I go on because I want to cash in on the outside. That's why I would go on the show. I'd be upfront with the producers about that. But I'm gonna come in there. I'm gonna be Nasty Nick. And I'm going to have my funny one-liners. I'm going to stir the pot. Nobody stirs the pot like me. I'm not going on there to look to win because I don't think I'm going to win. I think I'm going to be able to out. So I'm going to just go as hard as I can for the first 3 weeks, make a name for myself. and away we go. That would be my strategy. You would be quiet. I think you should go in there and talk everybody's ear off, and that's how you'd win.
Well, I would be friendly enough. I think it's a great opportunity too, because I don't want to necessarily be the person who does just the reality TV thing where I go from like reality show to reality show to reality show. But if you go on one show like that, usually another door or two following the first one usually opens after that. So it's kind of like a domino effect. So in the event that were to all take place, and if it ever played out like that, I think it were to make sense to jump on the other opportunities and take advantage of that as they would come.
Joe, you're made for reality TV. We had so many reality stars on with us that have agreed. So we'll see. Something to think about moving forward here as the castings roll on. And if they do in-person casting next year, you have to go. Just go. What do you have to lose? You don't have to accept to go on the show. You might as well go and see how far you can get through the process, because the camera's going to love you. Now, last topic here before we wrap. This past Sunday, Joe, it's historic. For the first time in your 30s, back at Djais on a Sunday. How was your day?
It was great. I was treated like a king. I had a very fun time. And I told you this, right? The whole point of going there, now that I'm 31, I don't want to go there clubbing on a weekend or a weekend night. I don't want to go there on a Friday night or a Saturday night when you're going to be packed like sardines. You're not going to be able to move. You're not going to be able to talk to anybody. You're not going to be able to really, truly enjoy yourself, right? That's usually for the people who actually live down there, do the summer house down there. I like getting there on Sundays now. I got there a little bit later than I usually do because I like to get there at 11 on Sundays when it opens because I like to sit down and eat. I got there closer to 12. What was about to say about 12:30? I got there, and I stayed there till right before 6. So I left like 5:45 or so. So it's just a nice day, nice 5-6 hour day. But the reason why I like to go there is because I love the people who work there, and there are a couple people who I usually see there that I didn't see on Sunday. But the bar that I go to, my friends who work behind the bar, I got to see them. They take care of me. I appreciate them. It's the best. I go down there. Most of my drinks are already paid for. So all you have to worry about is, number one, and obviously if you don't have gas in your car, you got to fill it up. But I had enough gas in the car, so just make sure you pace yourself properly to enjoy the day, and you don't get too drunk to the point where it's like you have to stay there.
You went by yourself?
I drove down there by myself, but I saw my cousin there, and I saw a couple friends I knew there, and obviously the people that I work with. So they helped me enjoy the day. So it's great. That's what I like doing.
You had a great shirt on.
Of course I did. Got to go out. Got to go out and support any way I can.
All right, Joe. Well, glad you had a good time there. And we had a good time here today on episode 4 of You Know I'm Right Live. Make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already done so. Put on notifications so you know when we're going live. Typically, we're going to try to be going live on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern. That could change, but stay in the loop with the notifications. Follow us on Twitter at YKIR Podcast as well for all notifications there. So that's going to do it here for this episode of You Know I'm Right Live. For Joe Calabrese, I am the one and only Nick Durst, and this has been You Know I'm Right.